silent program. Why you forgot your power. You were born whole, not with a question mark, but a crown. And before you could even speak, they began chiseling that crown down, bit by bit, with every command to behave, to submit, to wait your turn. And slowly, without you even realizing it, you stopped acting like a creator and started performing like a product. You became what pleased them. You colored inside their lines. You swallowed their stories. And in return, they called you a good child. But here's the part no one tells you. That version of you, the one that learned how to survive the rules, was built from fear. And every layer of conditioning that followed had a single hidden message. You are not enough until someone else says you are. Think about it. Your approval had to come from teachers, your worth from grades, your belonging from groups, your salvation from God as they defined him, your future from a system. You were never taught to look within. You were taught to obey, to strive, to fear failure. You were trained to forget yourself, and they wrapped it in praise. So you never saw the prison being built. No bars, no chains, just expectations, and a silent program running beneath your life that said, you are small, you are powerless, you are separate. But that was never the truth, because something inside you always knew, some quiet flicker in the dark, that you were meant for more than this. And that flicker, that was your original knowing, the voice of God within you, before the noise began. It didn't shout, it whispered, you are not broken. You are powerful beyond belief. But you couldn't hear it over the clamor of teachers, preachers, and commercials. You couldn't feel it in a world that rewards masks and punishes light. So you traded power for performance and called it maturity. But now, here you are, tired of striving, tired of pretending, tired of carrying the weight of a life built on everyone else's expectations. And that voice? It's whispering again, louder this time, calling you back to yourself. So hear this, with the full force of your soul. You were never meant to ask for permission. You were meant to create, not with effort, but with awareness, not with struggle, but with intention, not someday, but now, because you're already doing it. That's the great secret. That silent program didn't take your power away. It just blinded you to how you've always used it. Every belief you carry, every emotion you feed, every story you repeat is shaping your world. You're not waiting for your power. You're wielding it unconsciously. And the moment you realize that, you stop being a victim of life and start being the artist of it. That's where we're going. In this series, we're not just breaking the illusion. We're rewriting the code. No more forgetting. No more asking. No more waiting. This is the beginning of remembering what you were before the world got to you. And what you still are now. The Creator. Part 2. The Power of Thought. How Belief Shapes Reality. There is no neutral thought. Read that again. There is no neutral thought. Every single one is an act of creation, a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. And most of the world is painting unconsciously, wondering why their masterpiece looks like chaos. You were born with the greatest gift, the ability to shape reality from the inside out. But they trained you to believe in the opposite. They taught you that life happens to you, not through you. That was the lie. Because every time you think a thought, you're not just observing life, you're programming it. Your thoughts aren't harmless. They're blueprints. They attract, repulse, mold, and form. And yet, How many of those thoughts did you choose? How many of your beliefs were consciously adopted instead of inherited from your parents, your culture, or your pain? Most people are trying to fix their life while still running the exact software that created it. They want abundance while believing they're undeserving. They want love while fearing rejection. They want peace while fighting their own mind. And then they ask why nothing's changing. It's not because they're lazy or unworthy. It's because they haven't understood the law. What you believe to be true becomes true for you. Not because it's real, but because your mind will bend perception to match your dominant inner image. Your life isn't a reflection of your potential. It's a reflection of your most rehearsed thoughts. Let that sink in. The thought that says, "I'll never get better," becomes the lens you see healing through. The thought that says, "I always get hurt," turns every new relationship into a war zone. Not because you're cursed, because you're creative. Thought is the root. Belief is the soil. Emotion is the water. And reality is the harvest. So the question isn't whether or not your thoughts shape life. They already do. The real question is, are you ready to take responsibility for them? Because this isn't just mindset talk. This is the fundamental law of creation. Everything begins in thought. That's why the ancient mystics, the awakened sages, and even the forgotten prophets all whispered the same truth. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But today, we scroll, we react, we absorb without filtering, and we call that thinking. No wonder we're tired. No wonder life feels random. We're letting the world use our mind like a landfill, and then wondering why we feel like trash. Your mind is sacred. It is the workshop of the gods. And it's time to clean house. So let me ask you something raw, brother. What are you rehearsing in your mind that you'd never want to see come true? What beliefs are you watering every day without knowing it? What stories are you still repeating that were never yours to begin with? Because the second you become aware of those, you become powerful again. That's where we go from victim to author, from reaction to revelation, from survival to creation. When you change the way you think, you change the way life responds. And when belief becomes intentional, life stops feeling accidental. The truth is, you're already a creator. You always were. But now you're waking up to it. And this time, you won't create from fear or shame or scarcity. You'll create from power, from love, from knowing. And the world will shift to match you. Part 3. The Lie of Lack. Why you keep searching outside yourself. Exactly 5,000 characters, optimized for 11 labs pacing. There's a lie that lives inside nearly every human being. A quiet voice, buried beneath the surface, whispering, "You're missing something. You're not enough. If only you had more, then you'd be okay." This voice doesn't shout. It haunts. It rides the back of your decisions. It colors how you see yourself. And it convinces you to chase a life that's always one step ahead. We were born into a world that sells wholeness by the piece. From the moment you could think, they told you, be better, look better, get more. Because right now, you're lacking. And so, we became seekers. Not of truth, but of validation. We seek the relationship to prove we're lovable. We seek the money to prove we're worthy. We seek the recognition to prove we exist. But we're never told the real problem. It was never about what we lacked. It was about what we forgot. You've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten that the divine lives in you. that the source of life breathes through your chest and watches the world through your eyes. And in that forgetting, you began to search. But you can't find what was never lost. You can't earn what you already are. You can only remember. That's why no amount of achievement, no lover, no praise ever fills the hole. Because the whole was never real, only the belief in it. And belief is powerful. If you believe you're broken, you'll live in survival. If you believe you're behind, you'll live in urgency. If you believe you're not enough, you'll turn your whole life into a performance for an audience that doesn't even exist. This is the trap. The world taught you to build a false self, one that can never be satisfied, because it was built on a lie. And every time you chase something to fill the emptiness, you confirm its existence. That's why we burn out. That's why we stay in relationships that hurt, jobs that drain, lives that don't fit. Because the ego believes it can earn what the soul already is. But here's the truth. You don't need to become something greater. You need to release what told you that you were less. Sit with that. You were never meant to be fixed. You were meant to be remembered. And the moment you stop chasing lack, you start radiating wholeness. Not because you changed, but because you stopped running from yourself. The kingdom of heaven is not a destination. It's a return to presence, to peace, to the you that was buried beneath the masks, the pain, the proving. Let the lie die. The lie that said you're not ready. The lie that said you need more. The lie that said you must chase the very thing you already carry. Because lack is not a fact. It's a lens. And once you take it off, you don't just see clearly, you create differently. This is how you reclaim your reality. You stop searching outside and start listening inside. You stop asking the world who you are and start telling it. And you remember, I lack nothing. I am not broken. I am the author of my experience. And when that becomes your belief, the whole world bends to match it. Part 4. The Mirror of Experience. How life reflects your inner world. Most people don't realize it until they've suffered for years, until they've asked the same question again and again. Why does this keep happening to me? And the answer is always the same. But it's the last answer the ego wants to hear, because you keep choosing it, because you keep believing it, because the world isn't punishing you, it's mirroring you. Everything outside of you is just an echo of what's already within. The patterns, the pain, the people, they reflect the very vibration of your thoughts and the wounds you haven't healed. But we don't see it that way, because we were raised to believe life is happening to us, that we're victims of random events, of heartbreak, of trauma, of misfortune. But the truth is much more powerful and far more uncomfortable. Your life is your mirror, and your mirror doesn't lie. It reflects the beliefs you swear you don't have, the pain you thought you buried, the parts of you you don't want to see. Every situation is a message. Every betrayal is a signal. Every delay is a lesson. Every person in your life is a teacher, especially the ones who hurt you. Because life is not cruel. Life is precise. It shows you exactly what you need to heal by bringing it outside of you, so you can finally face it. And yet, we fight it. We reject the people who mirror our unworthiness. We resent the jobs that mirror our powerlessness. We curse the moments that mirror our fear. But the mirror doesn't care if you like it. The mirror just shows. It shows you what you believe you are. It shows you what you tolerate. It shows you what you've chosen, not consciously, but vibrationally, because you attract what you are, not what you pretend to be. And so the same arguments repeat. The same wounds reopen. The same emptiness comes back. Not because you're cursed, but because you haven't changed what you're projecting. Your beliefs are the paintbrush. Your mind is the canvas. And reality is your art. If you carry guilt, you'll create punishment. If you carry fear, you'll attract something to be afraid of. If you carry unworthiness, you'll only see people who reflect it back to you. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you believe you deserve. That's why affirmations don't always work, because words are surface. But belief is foundation. You can say, "I am loved," 1,000 times. But if your inner child still feels abandoned, your mirror will show you distance until you return and hold that child again. And so the healing begins, not with fixing the mirror, but changing the self that's reflected in it. Don't blame the job. Don't blame the relationship. Don't blame the world. Ask, what is this showing me about me? What belief am I still holding on to that allows this? What wound am I still carrying that attracts this? What version of myself is still running the show? Because every experience in your life is either a reflection of who you are or an invitation to become something greater. You are not a victim. You are a creator. And when you accept that, you stop trying to change the mirror and start shifting the image. You stop begging people to love you and start loving yourself so fiercely that anything less becomes invisible. You stop chasing money and start embodying abundance. So wealth must come to match you. You stop fearing loss because you realize nothing real can be taken from you. That's when life starts to feel different. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And the mirror simply followed. This is the great awakening, that life has never been outside of you. It has always been your reflection, your teacher, your masterpiece. The question is, are you ready to look in the mirror and finally see yourself? Part 5. Rewriting Reality. How to consciously create from wholeness. You've seen the lie of lack. You've faced the mirror. You've watched your own beliefs shape your world like shadows behind glass. Now comes the question that can't be avoided anymore. What happens when you stop living from your wounds and start creating from your wholeness? Most people try to change their life from the outside. New job, new lover, new city. But the inner world stays the same. Same fear, same doubt, same hunger to be chosen. And so the cycle repeats, because it doesn't matter where you move. If you bring the same consciousness, you'll just recreate the same prison with a prettier view. But when you wake up, when you realize you are the creator, everything shifts. You stop waiting. You stop performing. You stop praying for scraps from a world you were meant to command. You start from a new question. What would it look like if I created from my healed self? Not from fear, not from proving, not from survival, but from the deep knowing that nothing is missing, that nothing was ever missing, that you were simply hypnotized into forgetting your place in the universe. You are not a product of your past. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not the echo of what was done to you. You are a being of thought, vibration, and will, carrying the power to speak new worlds into being. And if you truly understood this, You'd be far more careful with your thoughts. You'd stop replaying the betrayal. You'd stop rehearsing the pain. You'd stop carrying guilt like it was noble. Because every thought you feed becomes the seed of your next moment. And every emotion you refuse to heal becomes the blueprint of what life will hand you next. The universe isn't personal. It's precise. It doesn't punish. It reflects. It listens. It builds based on your blueprint, even if that blueprint was born in trauma. So the moment you shift your blueprint, the moment you choose to live as if you are already whole, you enter a new timeline. And that's not just poetic. It's energetic law. You begin to notice. People treat you differently. You're drawn to new environments. Old patterns dissolve because your frequency no longer matches the life you used to know. This is what it means to rewrite reality. It means you no longer make choices from fear. You no longer beg for love. You no longer settle for crumbs. Because you've remembered. You were never the wounded child. You were the one sent to heal them. And as you return to that truth, you don't just create a new life. You become a new self. A self that walks in peace. A self that leads with love. A self that no longer seeks, but radiates. And people feel it. That's when your external world bends. That's when the mirror shifts. That's when you stop surviving and start creating. Homework. Take 10 minutes today and write the following. 1. The life I've been creating from survival. What thoughts, emotions, and beliefs have shaped my current reality? 2. The life I will now create from wholeness. What will I believe instead? How will I act? What will I no longer tolerate? Speak it into the present. Not I hope, but I am. Make this your new energetic signature. Not just with your words, but with your being. And as you do, watch the mirror change. If you've made it this far, brother or sister, you've already taken your power back. And if you felt the truth in this series, share it. Comment below. Let us know which part woke you up. Let the world know the old you is gone, and the Creator has arrived. You are whole. You are ready. You are the author now. Welcome home.